Good morning. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my studio and welcome to episode 26 of Alex Likes to Knit. In case you're new here, I'll introduce myself. My name is Alex. I am a professional artist and a knitting enthusiast. I live in San Antonio, Texas with my wife and my dog Otis. And this is a podcast that I do pretty irregularly at this point, where I just talk about what I'm knitting on, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get started. I have two finished objects today. One is super small and one is socks, and then I'll talk about what I'm working on. Before I get into my finished objects and works in progress, I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. So I'll probably just wear this sweater for a few minutes because it's super early and it's cold when we first wake up, so I had to turn the air off. But this sweater is the Coven Cardi by Shea Johnson. This is definitely my favorite sweater that I have made. It's awesome. It's just a really basic worsted cardigan pattern. So really great if you're looking for basic size inclusive worsted cardi. This is a good one. It's got raglan shaping, a little v-neck, and then it does have, in the original pattern, it has like more of a balloon sleeve, but I just did some decreases and then didn't do the balloon sleeve, and then just matched where I did my decreases on the other arm, so that was super easy. I did the 3rd or 4th size, and this yarn is Barocco Vintage, so it's part wool, part acrylic, and part nylon, which is perfect for me because I have washed it and it's been doing great. It's not scratchy or anything, it's comfortable, and I really like the color. So that's the sweater. This top that I'm wearing, which I'll talk about more later, I wore this on purpose because I'm comparing this to my Tolsta tee that I'm working on right now, because I like how this fits and I like the length and everything of this. So I was kind of playing with this garment today, so I thought it'd be perfect to wear it for the podcast. But this is the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit, and the yarn is Destination Yarn in the color Terracotta, in their DK 100% Superwash Merino. I can't remember what they call that base, but that is the base and the color. And this one I did make some more heavy modifications because my gauge was pretty off. So if you're really interested in this, go back to episode 11 or something, and I talk about finishing this up. But yeah, I wore this so that I can kind of show you how it's fitting and compare it to my Tolsta Tank I'm working on, and that is what I'm wearing. So let's get into my projects. It's been a few weeks since I last recorded, and it worked for me because my main project is just slow going. It's kind of boring. There just hasn't been a ton of finished things, a ton of information to share, that kind of thing. But I needed to sit down and record this week because next week I'm leaving on a big trip. So I have specific goals of what I want to complete before my trip, so that while I'm gone I can maybe do some yarn shopping, do some easy knitting while I'm away, and then I can update you again when I get back. Yeah, more on that trip at the end, but let's go ahead and get into my finished objects. My first finished object is something I was working on last episode. I have gotten it finished. My purple vanilla socks. Yeah, so just a really basic pair of socks, really. The yarn is a yarn bead colorway that I got in a D-stash. It's called Beetroot, and then This contrast color is from my 2023 Ruby and Roses Advent. I just thought because it has those little specks of pink and purple that it would be a fun combination to put with this dark purple colorway. So pretty basic, not much to say. I did make these for a gift for a friend who has a birthday in the fall. So just gonna put these aside for now, and that's about it. If you have questions about my vanilla sock recipe for these, I'll leave the counts and everything that I did in the description box. But this is kind of the size that I do for myself for kind of a women's medium type size. I wear a size 8, 8.5 shoe. And that's about the size I did for these. I do have a little bit of a loose gauge. I get like 7 or 8 stitches per inch. I think 7. So I do a 56 stitch like cast on. I do 56 stitches for the leg and the foot for my size. And that's what I did for these as well. But I'll put the gauge and the counts and everything for these socks in the description box if you're interested. I have coffee in my handmade mug. I made this whenever I took a ceramics class. And yeah, it's got a quilt block on it. It makes me happy. I also finished a tiny baby finished object because whenever I was finishing up those purple socks, I was at an event. So I was just like sitting, hanging out, knitting on the job for a few hours, and so I still probably had like an hour or 2 left. So I cast it on a 50-gram yarn cozy, and I finished that up so that I could start on some new socks. This is just a pattern by Knitty Natty, and yeah, it holds your cake of yarn. So I have like barely any yarn left in this, and it's just kind of holding it together. She has knit and crochet versions and 100-gram, 50-gram, and 20-gram sizes. So this is the 50-gram size. And what else? You can get like the whole pack of like all the sizes together, and you just use sock yarn and sock needles. That's why I end up making these a lot, because they're really useful to hold my cakes of yarn. You'll see them on my other projects too. I have my yarn in yarn cozies, but also because of course I have tons of leftover sock yarn. I have the needles that I need. They're just super easy to do. So this one I did the same main and contrast color as I did for the socks, so it just matches those. I just did the contrast color in there's an I-cord bind off to kind of hold the top together. Yeah. So those are my finished objects. And that's about it. Let's talk about works in progress. So this first one is one that I still have going from last episode. These Christmas socks for my mom. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just finish these. I think that I'm not as into the yarn, and I just didn't really have interest in working on the like texture pattern. Even though it is like super easy, I don't know, there just hasn't been a lot of time where I felt like working on these, but I am getting pretty close to finishing them, so I definitely want to finish these before my trip, and I leave in a week. So I just need to like put this on the couch and just work on it whenever I'm on the couch. This is the second sock, so I'm not sure where I was last episode, but I have the first sock finished, and then the second sock I am on the foot. And I do remember for the first one, after I got to the foot, it goes pretty quickly since the texture's only on the top. So I just need to spend some time finishing these up. This yarn is from Knit Picks. It is Knit Picks Stroll Tonal, and the colorway is called Heartfelt, and it's just a tonal red. There really is a lot of variation in the red. You can see, especially on the bottom of the foot, how stripy it looks. And I like how in the textured section, it really kind of blends it out. I really like how, like, I'm glad that I did the texture for this, because if it would have been like stripy like that all over, I don't think I would have liked these that much. But yeah, this is gonna be a Christmas pair for my mom. I'm working on making Christmas socks for my family because I think that'd be cute. So yeah, I think also because like I want this to be a Christmas pair and it is still July, I have plenty of time to work on these, so I'm just like not really worried about it. But I want to go ahead and get this finished up before my trip so that I can bring like a new project instead of bringing an almost finished project. Oh, the texture pattern is the like Hermione's favorite or Hermione's everyday socks. It's a really popular pattern on Ravelry. So it's just a knit and purl texture. It's a free pattern. So if you are interested in making textured socks, this is a super good, really easy one. I definitely recommend it. I did this texture pattern for my Christmas socks last year and I loved how it came out. I felt like it was a little festive, so that's why I wanted to do that for this color. My next sock work in progress is even closer to being done. I am working on a pair of socks for my dad, and I finished the first sock. And I'm getting pretty close on the second sock. I have maybe 20 rounds or so left on the foot. So yeah, this yarn, I rewound this because it was falling apart and put it into one of my small yarn cozies. This yarn is from Hot Springs Fiber Co. Let's see if I have the tag around here. Okay, found the tag. So this tag is from Hot Springs Fiber Co. in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which I visited recently. So I picked this up and I picked up the yarn that I'm using for my Tolsta Tank. This base is called Seriously Sock. That might be hard to see because my light is really bright whenever I hold things up. But Hot Springs Fiber Co. Seriously Sock, which is 85% merino wool, 15% nylon. 100 grams has 450 yards, and this colorway is called Forest Floor. I was looking specifically for a more toned down, like more neutral color to make socks for my dad in, because the last pair that I made him were pretty crazy. So I just wanted to make him something a little bit more neutral. So looking at the options that they had, I thought he'd like this. And then now that it's knit up, this really looks like camo to me. My dad is not a big like camo wearer, but I just think that that's a very dad thing to have in your socks, is like a camo something, I don't know. So I hope that he likes these. He definitely likes green, which is why I went for this color that's more of a neutral green. So yeah, and this base is awesome. It's super soft. I don't often work with like 85-15 blends, but I think it's really like squishy and plump and soft. So I think it's gonna make a really warm, comfortable pair of socks. For sizing, I did 60 rounds instead of 56 to make a little bit of a wider sock, and then I have definitely extra rounds in the leg, just a little bit of extra rounds in the foot, and I'm not exactly sure the counts, but I have it somewhere, so I will put the exact counts and my gauge information in the description box. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be able to finish these up before my trip, because I just have a little bit left and it's just plain stockinette knitting. So I think those two socks will be super easy for me to finish up. it is my next work in progress that is going to take a little bit more effort to get finished before my trip. So my last work in progress, which is my main project right now, is a Tolsta Tank. And this is what I've got done on it. So definitely it's got a lot of knitting on it. This is the fingering weight version. So a lot of just small little stitches on there. Let's see, my yarn. So my yarn cozy that I showed. This is also from Hot Springs Fiber Co. Let me get my third little. So last episode I showed my swatch and talked about my plan. But let me show you again because my plan has changed a bit. This yarn is from Hot Springs Fiber Co. This is my last 50 gram skein that I haven't wound up yet. And Springs Fiber Co. This base is called Finger Candy Petite. It is a fingering weight yarn that's 51% organic cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. And this color is called Mauve. So I wanted to do the fingering weight Tolsta Tank. And at first I was thinking I'll do the vest version. I like the cut and like the shape of that. But then with this yarn, as I was knitting it up, it's so like smooth. It's like almost shiny. I thought this might be better as the camisole version because it just has more of a like fancy feel. But looking more into everyone's like project pages and everything, I don't think the camisole cut is going to work for me because of how like wide the armholes come out. I just don't think I'm gonna like that fit as much. So I think I'm back on the plan of doing the vest version. What I'm thinking is I'm gonna kind of do what Coco Knits did for her sample, which I think some other people have also been kind of copying because that sample came out so beautiful. So I'll put a picture of her finished object photos from, she was in the test knit. And the finishing on the neck and the armholes is, she did the vest version and then it seems like she picked up and just knit a bit so that it would roll. And I'm not exactly sure like if she picked it up differently or anything. I think I saw something that said she picked it up like backwards or something, like from the inside. I'm not sure, but I think that with this, because I just left the raw edge at the bottom, so I have a little bit of a rolled hem at the bottom, doing the rolled edge will just look really clean and will go really nicely with this. Also, in terms of sizing and the shape and everything, I'm really trying to emulate this top that I'm wearing here. So this is probably my most successful, definitely for like tops, not sweaters, this is my most successful hand knit garment. And I think this is going to be, it's definitely a different vibe, but it's like I'm trying to think about what do I like about this piece that I can put into this Tolsta Tank. And I think I really need it to have a pretty high neck. I think that's going to be really important to me. Something that I don't love about this is how far this comes off my shoulders. And I think that it will be good that the vest version does like come in a little bit. The length of this is like perfect. So I'm going to try to go for this length. But one thing that I need to do is watch out for the depth of my armhole here. Because I think I would like it to be just a tad bit higher. So, knowing that, I think I'm getting really, really close to being done with the body. I measured the body and I have 11 inches here. On this top, between the bottom of my armhole and the end of my hem, I have like 10.5 inches. I do want to do like an extra inch so that it comes up a little bit more into my armpits, and if it is a little bit longer, I think that like that will be good and fine too, because it's going to be more like drapey and flowy, where this kind of has more of a stiffness to it. So yeah, being a little bit longer would be good. So I was thinking that I would finish this ball of yarn and then split for the front and back. But I might go ahead and split. It's just hard to tell because it looks so short. Like it does not look like it would be long enough. But if I hold it up with where my armhole is here, like it is the same length as this piece. I could do maybe a tiny bit more. I also think that this will fall some and just kind of like stretch out and lengthen. So yeah, it's hard to say. And like for these shorts, like I still have room. Like these both come over a bit. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that this is good and then I can split front and back, which is exciting. Other notes, I am doing the 3rd size. I'm following the directions for the 4-ply version. Whenever I did my swatch, I liked how the cast on edge looked, so I was like, that'll be perfect. Just do that for the cast on edge at the bottom of my tank. So that's the only difference I've done so far, and once I get the edging and stuff done, I'll talk about how I do that. But yeah, so splitting for front and back, maybe today or tomorrow. It's pretty early in the day, so I think that could be definitely doable to work on that today. And yeah, I'm excited for this tank. I think it's going to be really pretty, really just easy to wear and wash. I'm excited. I think that this is going to be my first truly successful summer garment. All right, that is all the projects. So I told you not as much going on right now in my little knitting world over here, but I'm hoping to finish up all 3 of these projects before my trip in about a week. I am going to Paris for 2 Olympic events and then going to a few other European cities. I will be gone for about 2.5 weeks. So I am hoping to bring some knitting and I'm hoping to purchase some yarn while I'm there. We're going to Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam. Those are the places where I'm expecting to maybe find some yarn. So I am kind of planning my future projects and hoping to get 1 or 2 garment quantities of yarn while I am over there. So I have kind of been reflecting and thinking about what it is that I would want to make and what kind of yarn I would want to buy. I'm thinking of looking for European commercial yarns, which I know will just be more affordable. Things like Knitting for Olive, I know you can get it in the US, but my local yarn store doesn't have it, so I've never worked with it before. Issair, even like Drops, I've never worked with those because my yarn store doesn't have them. So I'm thinking about those yarns and what kind of projects I want to make next. And I think I want to stick with the more summery patterns, but I'm thinking about making fall garments. I live in San Antonio, Texas, so it's a very warm climate, and I would like to make like a knitted t-shirt that's going to be specifically a more fall garment. So I'm thinking like cotton merino blends, that kind of thing for a t-shirt would be awesome. Or doing a vest. I really like this vest and how it fits. It's really easy for me to wear. So potentially doing a merino mohair combo vest that would be more of a layering piece. Yeah, that's about it. So I'm thinking about that. I was looking at yardage and stuff for patterns I might want to make, and I am very excited. So hopefully I can get these 3 projects finished up before next Tuesday, and then I'll probably bring like 2 skeins of sock yarn, and that's it on my trip. What I might do is bring 2 skeins that coordinate and make 2 pairs of vanilla socks, and then if I still have, like if I finish 2 pairs of vanilla socks, then I can make another pair of socks with the 2 colors together with the leftovers. I think that might be nice. But also I'll be purchasing yarn, so I'm not really planning to buy sock yarn, but I also will not be surprised if I see sock yarn that I really love and that I end up purchasing, because I'm drawn to sock yarn. I knit a lot of socks, so we'll see. I don't want to like get stuff wound and like start things immediately, but if I run out of sock yarn, I could do that. I don't know. But yeah, that is about it. I have a little art update, which I like to do at the end of my knitting podcast. So the art update is the year is halfway over, and at the beginning of the year, I made a video where I talked about all my plans for 2024 for my art and my art business. And I decided at the beginning of this month that I needed to look over that video and make a new video that is like a mid-year check-in of like, how am I doing with my goals that I set at the beginning of the year? How do I need to readjust? What do I need to do to kind of refocus my energy for the second half of the year to have my business be as successful as it can? And I made that video and I edited it, and now like it's like stuck. Like I exported it, I uploaded it to YouTube, and not all of it was there. It's very weird. Like right now it's stuck. I can't re-export it. I don't know what is going on, but I don't think that video is actually going to come out, but it's okay. I think that it was still a good exercise in just, I did reset my goals. I did a bunch of journaling about it. I got my thoughts organized, and I have a plan going forward for the rest of the year. If it doesn't become a video, it's not that big of a deal. Not a ton of people like watched the January one anyway, so I don't think that there's people like, oh, I wonder how Alex is doing with her goals. It's not really for other people, it's more for me, so I wasn't super upset. But yeah, that's why I haven't had an art video in a while, because I spent a long time working on that and it didn't work out. But I do plan to do a video coming up, possibly filming today, that is about the little art supply kit that I'm taking on this Europe trip. I have pared down my art supplies. I've gotten some new small compact stuff, and I'm going to make a video about what I'm bringing and kind of why I chose these, like the brands and all that. So look out for that coming up soon. And then I will also very soon be doing all the art I made in July, because July ends tomorrow. So probably filming tomorrow that video and then putting it up over the weekend or at the beginning of next week. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in my art videos, and if you are waiting around for more knitting content. I will be back with what I made in Europe, possibly a little acquisition section, which I don't normally do, but I think after this trip I'm going to want to share what I bought. And so yeah, what I do on my trip, these things getting finished up, that will be at the end of August, so it's going to be a while before I'm able to film again. I won't be back until August 23rd, so at least a few days after that before I see you again with more knitting content. But I'm really excited for this trip. I'm excited to have kind of a break from life. We've had these tickets for the Olympics for over a year, and it's very exciting that it's finally happening. We're really going. The Olympics it's started, and we've been, you know, planning this trip for so long. So yeah, really exciting. I'm really happy, and that's really it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.